Right, so you see this little wire here. I know it's electric, but I wasn't really thinking, and I just headbutted it, and I just got a hell of an electric shock through my head. It was like a whack kind of thing, like poof. And then I got another one very shortly after through the tripod stand. Right, so we're just going to clear this area. Oh, it's a lovely bit of soil. Plenty of goodness in that. So we've got this nice patch here. I'd like to rough it up a little. Not with that. And we're going to try our device here. Now this is my launcher for my atlatl, apparently they're called, or spear thrower. Effectively it's an extra arm. And what we're going to do is charm worms. There's one there that's just crawled out. But I'm not entirely sure. This seems to create a bit of panic in the worm, especially that one. That just bolted out of the ground and legged it. So I think this is meant to be something like what a mole noise would be, or something like that. It's often thought that the rain tapping will bring them out, isn't it? Maybe it's that. Who knows? But that is a way. Here comes another one. Of getting worms or bait to go fishing with. And that's not a bad one, that one. Coming up, look, all over the place. So, strange but true, the worm charmer. So something I've been carrying around recently is this little blowtorch. You may have seen it in the background here or there. It's quite handy just for getting inside of something and giving it a little light. It's a jet burn, and it's basically a little welder pencil torch. I don't know how much gas is in it. Seems to be okay. It's a nice, neat little blue flame right on the end of that rod. So it's quite, it will get warm. Takes about a minute or two to cool down. Applying pressure helps until it's cool. I'll try that. And then we've made another cap for this. It's not very good, it's a rush job obviously, but it will get hold of that screw thread, like so. And I've got a replacement cap for this tube. You can do the same with just about any screw thread thing. It's not coming out of there, so I can now roll this up and use less space, hopefully. This is the test, I guess, because this is what I wanted to do. I'm happy with that. There's no spillage, no seepage. Well, hello and welcome, fellow shapers of the future. Been here a while, tried to make loads of films and lots of aircraft flying overhead. Hopefully they've finished their little thing, their manoeuvres, and we can get a little bit of peace and quiet. And so does that bird over there by the sound of things. Total agreement with me. Those noisy machines that roar overhead. Isn't that right? So what I'm doing here is char cloth. I've got a piece of cloth that I took from my trusty sack, which I'm not happy about. I was meant to bring a bit of old t-shirt or a bit of old jeans, but forgot. So we're improvising, but I'm going to show you my method of making char cloth. You just get a very thin stick, preferably with nothing on it that can get a purchase onto the cloth, and roll it really tightly. Because you've got the stick in there, you can actually get a much tighter roll on there than ordinarily. And then pull the stick out, and you'll see we've got like a cigar, a little mini cigar, this one, because we haven't used a lot of cloth. Now, I would like to pinch that with something. I don't know what. Maybe a little bit of this tin foil. Just something to hold it in place, really, so it doesn't unwind. And then that will make 2 char cloths. Pop it in the tin, which is a golden syrup tin. It was the cheapest tin I could find, really. I'm not a big fan of golden syrup, really, but all you want is a nice tin. It could be boot polish tin, rolling tobacco tin, as long as it is fairly airtight. Doesn't have to be totally, just fairly. And depending on how airtight it is, you need at least a hole that big. I find the saw blade to be a bit better than the file, to be honest, that I normally use. And it's just a little bit more accurate. And I shit you not, the second strike, there was no trickery there at all. But now what you've got is something that's very much like a solid charcoal, really, that will slowly burn away. Gives you plenty of time to do what you need to do. As you can see, that'll take about a minute and a half probably to burn through that. But yeah, you can easily burst it into life.
You know, if the TV was on, if the film was on, and people watching the TV, you don't stand.
I've been to see the lady at the lake, and she gave me another little present, acai, and that gives us another
They were like playing a game or something.
use for our Swiss Army survival stick.
I've lost sight of my youth.
It's not actually that easy,
In a
but
different reality. Show where that game doesn't exist.
yes,
They're playing a game or they're
it's a
watching
bottle
something,
opener.
you get in the way, they go, I can't see.
Cheers.
And you're like, I don't care, that makes no difference to me.
Oh, but it's the
I'm not hurrying out of the way.
Well, hello and welcome, fellow shapers. Good morning. This is the morning, indeed. Last night, not the greatest. I often put things down to survive and thrive. Yesterday, I thrived. I ate well. I come up with loads of little ideas of things to do, and I felt I was thriving. But last night, a cold front came in and a little bit of rain, and that made things rather chilly. So I kept waking up, sort of shivering, curling up into a ball, as you do. But then, this is probably why I do this, I don't know. So you have a rough night, and the next day then that sun comes up and you feel the warmth from that. You get a fire, you feel the warmth from that. You have a cup of coffee and it tastes good. It just makes... You've got to experience the rough to truly appreciate the smooth. I firmly believe that. If you've got a life that's just steady, flatlining, like a 9 to 5, 5 days a week, it's boring. So I woke up with the dawn. It was roughly 5ish, and whilst I was making my cup of coffee, I just had a little play with my Swiss Army stick and summoned a few worms. And then a little robin friend, who's gone now, but hopefully he'll come back. But he was hovering around in the bushes, sort of checking out what I was doing and stuff. You know, it would perhaps seem a bit weird, wouldn't it? So, yeah, I stood back, let him have a couple of worms. Then I done it again, and he flew around the bushes a bit, but stayed close. And then he swooped in, and when I stepped back again, and it reminded me very much of my allotment. There used to be a robin on my allotment patch, the same one, and he would sit on the posts while I was digging, just biding his time, waiting for me to leave him enough space for him to swoop in and grab a couple of worms. And in return, he would sing me this sweet song. I'm sure a lot of you know the robin song. It's a little bit random, but you really do. It was like a, oh, thanks kind of thing. I know it probably wasn't. It's probably like, oh, hurry up, give me some more worms or something. But it felt we had a connection. And that's the reason I do this. The rough and smooth, and to get a connection. And surprisingly, it can happen. Unfortunately, my devices have pretty much all drained on battery. I didn't fully charge up, and I didn't bring my solar panels.